I told, I will be starting with the next module. That is, instead of taking up module 2, I will be starting with module 3. The module 3 deals with timing issues in digital circuits. Okay, so it has so many different components, starting from the introduction, timing classification of digital systems, synchronous design, an in-depth perspective, self-timed circuit design, synchronizers and arbiters, clock synthesis and synchronization using a phase lock loop, that is PLL, future direction and perspectives, and finally summary. Right? Actually, the full content of this chapter is not there. I will be sharing you the content as and when required. Already, I have shared few pages of this third module, that is the timing issues in digital circuits. I hope all of you just at least gone through what exactly this module 3 is all about. Okay, now let me start with the introduction. Okay, all sequential circuits have one property in common. A well-defined ordering of the switching events must be imposed if the circuit is to operate correctly. If this were not the case, okay, wrong data might be written into the memory elements. What will happen then? It will be resulting in a functional failure. A synchronous system approach in which all memory elements in the system are simultaneously updated using a globally distributed periodic synchronization signal, that is, a global clock signal, represents an effective and popular way to enforce this ordering. Functionality is ensured by imposing some strict constraints on the generation of the clock signals and their distribution to the memory elements distributed over the chip. Non-compliances often lead to malfunctioning. Okay. Now there are so many issues that we are going to discuss in this particular chapter. What is synchronous? What is isochronous? So many issues will come. Clock jitter. So many new terms with respect to clock we are going to study in this particular. What type of interfaces are going to happen? What are the problems? How to do the clock routing? All those concepts are part of this particular chapter, that is timing issues in digital circuits. Now next we'll go to uh, as I told here, overview of the different timing methodology we are going to see here. What is the synchronous approach? We are going to see what is clock skew and clock jitter, asynchronous design. All these are the part of this particular chapter. Next we'll see the timing classification of digital systems. Okay, in digital systems, signals can be classified depending on how they are related to the clock. Signals that transition only at predetermined periods in time can be classified as synchronous, mesosynchronous, or plesiosynchronous with respect to system clock. A signal that can transition at arbitrary times, on the other hand, is considered asynchronous. First, we'll go for, so these are the four possibilities as I told: synchronous interconnect, mesosynchronous, plesiosynchronous, and asynchronous. Depending upon with reference for all of these interconnects, clock is the reference. First, we'll go for synchronous interconnect. Now, this is a block diagram, synchronous interconnect method. A synchronous signal is one that has exact same frequency as the clock and maintains a known fixed phase offset to that clock. In such a timing framework, the signal is synchronized. If the clock and the data can be sampled directly with any uncertainty, digital logic design, synchronous systems are most straightforward and type of interconnect. The flow of data in such circuits depend or circuit proceeds in lockstep with the system clock as shown in this particular figure. Here the input data you can see into the slide or the PDF what I have shared. The input data signal in is sampled with register R1 to produce the signal Cin, which is synchronous with the system clock, and then it is passed along the combination logic. You can see in between R1 and R2. R1 and R2 are the clocked elements, clocked elements. In between we have a combination logic. Okay, so as you can see, the signal in is sampled with register R1 to produce signal C1, which is synchronous with the system clock, and then it is passed along the combination logic block. After a suitable setting period, the output Cout becomes valid. Its value is sampled by R2, which synchronizes the output with the clock. In a sense, the certainty period of signal Cout, the period during which data are valid, is synchronized with the system clock. Okay. Next, we'll go for isochronous interconnect. Okay. So as shown in the figure is a block diagram for isochronous. One example of isochronous. Let me first explain what is isochronous signal. Meso in Greek means middle. Is a signal that not only has the same frequency as the local clock but also has an unknown phase effect with respect to that clock. For example, if data are being passed between two different clock domains, the data signal transmitted from first module can have an unknown phase relationship to the clock of the receiving module. In such a system, it is not possible to directly sample the output at the receiving module because of the uncertainty in the phase offset. A isochronous synchronizer can be used to synchronize the data signal with the receiving clock. Now, as shown in this figure, signal D1, please refer to D1, is a synchronous with respect to clock A, CLK is clock A. However, D1 and D2 are isochronous with clock B because of the unknown phase difference between clock A and clock B. Okay, because we don't know these are the two separate clocks. Okay, obviously there is going to be a phase difference and the unknown interconnect delay in the path between block A and block B. The role of a synchronizer is to adjust the variable delay line such that the data signal D3, that is the delayed version of D2, is aligned properly with the system clock of block B. In this example, the variable delay element is adjusted by measuring the phase difference between the received signal and the local clock. Register R2 samples the incoming data during certainty period, after which signal D4 becomes synchronous with clock B. Okay, so this is the meaning of isochronous communication or isochronous interconnect. Next, we'll go for the next type of signal. Okay, it has reversed. Okay, let me show you like this. Isochronous communication by using a FIFO. Okay. So plisocronous signal is one that has frequency that is nominally the same as that of local clock, yet is slightly different. In Greek, plisio means near. This causes the phase difference to drift in time. This scenario can easily arise when two interacting modules have independent clocks generated from separate crystal oscillators. So we do have two separate crystal oscillators, C1 and C2. Since the transmitted signal can arrive at the receiving module at a different rate at the local clock, one needs to utilize a buffering scheme to ensure that all data are received. Typically, plisocronous interconnect occurs only in distributed systems that contain long distance communications. Since chip or even board level circuit typically utilize a common oscillator to derive local clocks. A possible framework for plisocronous interconnect I have shown in this figure. Okay, let me explain this figure now. In this digital communication framework, the originating module issues data at some unknown rate C1. Let's consider it's issuing the data at unknown rate of C1, which is plisocronous with respect to C2. The timing recovery unit is responsible for deriving clock C3 from the data sequence and buffering the data in a FIFO. As a result, C3 will be synchronous with the data at the input of FIFO and will be isochronous with C1. We have already seen what is isochronous in the previous explanation. Since the clock frequencies from the originating and receiving modules are mismatched, data might have to be dropped if the transmit frequency is faster, or data can be duplicated if the transmit frequency is slower than the receiving frequency. However, by making FIFO large enough as well as periodically resetting the system whenever an overflow condition occurs, robust communication can be achieved. So this is the explanation for isochronous communication with the help of FIFO. Next we'll go for something called as the asynchronous design methodology. Asynchronous interconnect. Asynchronous signals can transition arbitrarily at any time, right? And they are not slaved to any local clock. As a result, it is not straightforward to map these arbitrary transitions into a synchronized data stream. It is possible to synchronize asynchronous signals by detecting events and by introducing latencies into the data stream synchronized to the local clock. A more natural way to handle asynchronous signals, however, is to simply eliminate the use of local clocks and utilize a self-timed asynchronous design approach. Okay, when a logic block completes an operation as shown in the figure, it will generate a completion signal dv. Please refer to the figure to indicate that the output data are valid. The handshaking signals that initiate a data transfer to the next block, which latches in the new data and begins a new computation by asserting the initialization signal I. Asynchronous designs are advantageous because computations are performed at the native speed of the logic, and block computations occur whenever data becomes available. There is no need to manage clock skew, and design methodology leads to a very modular approach in which interaction between blocks simply occur through a handshaking procedure. However, these modules result in increased complexity and overhead in communication, which impacts the whole performance of the system. Okay, I hope all of you understood the some initial part of this module 3, which is timing issues in digital circuits. There are so many issues, right? This is just introduction and a few classification of the digital systems like synchronous interconnect, mesocronous, plisocronous, and asynchronous. Whatever concepts we have studied today, all are with respect to the basic clock. Okay, so the remaining part I will be teaching you in the next class. Thank you.